Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. According to Pleternod News, on March 27th, the Dow Jones Industrial Average in the New York stock market temporarily dropped by over 800. This sharp decline was primarily driven by widespread concerns about the potential long-term escalation of military conflict in the Middle East. U.S. President Trump announced a 10-day repostponement of attacks on power plants and other targets within Iran. However, U.S. media also reported that the Pentagon is considering dispatching up to 10,000 additional ground troops to the Middle East region. Amid escalating worries of a prolonged military confrontation involving the United States, Israel, and Iran, selling pressure intensified in the New York stock market. Furthermore, the rising price of WTI crude oil futures, which briefly surpassed 100 parks by the barrel again, added significant downward pressure on stock prices. NPR reports that after a month of war, U.S. intelligence can confirm only about one-third of Iran's missile arsenal has been destroyed. This assessment comes as Secretary of State Marco Rubio stated that operations to dismantle Iran's missile and weapon systems are ahead of schedule and expected to conclude in weeks. Meanwhile, G7 foreign ministers met in France, calling for an end to attacks on civilians and free navigation in the Strait of Hormuz, a vital oil passage currently blockaded. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky also visited Saudi Arabia, seeking defense cooperation and offering Ukraine's expertise. The conflict has seen continued attacks, with Israel striking Iranian missile sites and Iran targeting U.S. bases in Gulf states. Economically, the war is severely impacting the global economy, driving up inflation and slowing growth, with particular strain on energy markets and Asian nations. The European Union is at risk of a stagflationary shock due to the escalating conflict in the Middle East, which has significantly driven up energy prices and obscured the economic outlook. According to European Commissioner for Economy Valdis Dombrovskis, Seawater reports. Speaking on Friday, Dombrovskis noted the conflict's intensification, including joint attacks on Tehran and Iran's retaliation, leading to the effective closure of the Strait of Hormuz and Brent crude oil trading above 100 puris per barrel. This situation could reduce EU economic growth by 0.4 to 0.6 percentage points and increase inflation by up to 1 percentage point in 2027. EU leaders have tasked the Commission with preparing targeted, temporary measures to address rising energy prices, such as lowering electricity taxation and modernizing the EU emissions trading system. Dombrovskis emphasized that these responses must be consistent with long-term decarbonization goals and avoid increasing fossil fuel demand. He also acknowledged limited fiscal space and highlighted ongoing coordination with international partners, including an upcoming G7 meeting. According to NetEase, an oil tanker experienced an attack while attempting to navigate the critical Strait of Hormuz. During the incident, an Indian crew member reportedly jumped into the sea in an effort to escape the vessel. Tragically, the crew member subsequently died after inhaling seawater. This unfortunate event underscores the ongoing risks and challenges associated with maritime transit through this vital global waterway, which is crucial for international oil shipments. The circumstances of the attack are currently being investigated. In a significant diplomatic exchange, Iranian Foreign Minister Saeed Abbas Araghchi and his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov engaged in a phone call on Friday, as reported by Seawater. Their discussion centered on the repercussions of ongoing U.S. and Israeli military aggression against Iran and the latest regional developments. Minister Arakchi condemned what he described as unlawful attacks by the United States and Israel on various Iranian targets, including civilian infrastructure, and stressed Iran's determination to defend its national interests. He also attributed insecurity in the Strait of Hormuz to these attacks, stating, "The waterway is closed to vessels from the U.S., Israel, and their allies involved in the aggression, while permitting passage for other nations' vessels with Iranian coordination." For his part, Minister Lavrov condemned the aggression, affirming the necessity of respecting UN Charter principles, and expressed Russia's readiness to consult further to de-escalate tensions and restore regional security and stability. Separately, Arakchi vowed a heavy price on Israel for earlier attacks on Iranian facilities. The article contextualizes these events by noting joint U.S.-Israeli attacks in February that killed Iran's supreme leader and others, leading to Iranian retaliatory strikes. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.